Hi everyone and welcome to the final TNT for the week. Tomorrow we've got our live program between 9 and 10 a.m. It's free, no memberships. Everybody's welcome to join in, have a talk about anything that's on your mind, topics that have been in the news over the past week, things that you might disagree with me. Indeed, it might be some questions. You might be moving to Thailand and want to know some information. I'll do my best, and I'm sure the commenters will add their suggestions as well if you need answers. Now, moving to our first story today, this is from BangkokPost.com, and it says tourism firms cash in on travel boom, and the tourism-related businesses continued to thrive during the first 5 months of this year, especially foreign currency exchanges, travel agencies, tour guides, restaurants, and hotel, resort, and condo companies. So this really covering the first 5 months of this year, noting that the high season around December, January, February this year was very busy indeed in some of the hot spots, driven particularly by, well, firstly a Russian and then a return of the Chinese. And of course the Indians have been quite solid right throughout that time. So an interesting mix of tourists to kick off this tourism year in Thailand. Let's read some more. According to the latest data from the Commerce Ministry's Business Development Department, the proportion of newly established businesses related to tourism accounted for 8.1% of the total, and that's up 96.6% for the period. Compared to the first 5 months of last year, I certainly hope so. And the growth was attributed to the continuous increase in foreign tourists and the Thai economic recovery, reflected by a rising consumer confidence index. And in the first 5 months, the number of newly established businesses tallied nearly 40,000, and that was a rise of nearly 18,000 year on year. Now, we should note, of course, that there were a lot of businesses that closed down during COVID. Don't have any specific statistics on that, but it's not surprising that a lot of businesses have opened up to take their place. Maybe some of these new businesses are some of the old businesses just re-establishing themselves. The top 3 categories for new businesses during the period were general construction, real estate, and restaurants. And in May, the number of businesses that ceased operations totaled 1,234, and that's up by 12% year on year. So I think the bottom line in all this is there has been a lot of to and fro, new openings, new closings over the past 2 and 3 years, and that market's been very dynamic. But as the tourists start coming back, of course, we will see a growth and a proliferation of tourism businesses to take advantage of the new tourist flow, especially in places like Bangkok. And the PattayaNews.com reports that Bangkok ranks number 1 for world's most bookings. This is according to Agoda, one of the top OTAs, the online travel agencies. You've got hotels.com, Agoda, bookings.com. You might have your own favourites, but Agoda is certainly one of the leaders. Bangkok's become the number 1 city in the world for bookings, confirming its status as a highly popular place to visit. Thailand itself has also achieved significant success, securing the 2nd position as the world's most preferred tourist destination, following Japan. And notably, there's been a remarkable increase by approximately 60% in the number of foreign tourists seeking information about Thailand over the past 5 months, compared to the figures recorded in 2019. This growing interest has led to a rise in the popularity of alternative tourist spots within the country. Yeah, still plenty of people interested in coming to Thailand to either visit or to move here or perhaps retire. I think there is also a move away from the traditional bars, beaches and temples, and that people are looking for a different dynamic now in Thailand. But they keep on coming. That's the most important thing. And the article says, looking ahead, the trend suggests the potential to attract tourists from other countries, presenting a promising outlook for Thailand's tourism industry in the future. There's certainly a lot of people from different countries now coming to Thailand. It's part of the sort of the new paradigm in Thai tourism, and it's something that's quite exciting to watch. And I should mention down the bottom that the proceeding is a press release from the Thai government PR department. Again, I wish the PattayaNews.com would put that disclaimer at the top of the article, but good news that Bangkok is topping Agoda bookings. Moving on to our next article from BangkokPost.com, major Chinese scam gang busted. So you start reading this article, and by the time you get down to it, there's a whole rabbit hole that I will take you down. Operations based at the notorious King's Roman Casino duped victims by claiming links to the Crown Property Bureau. So once you're involving the Crown Property Bureau, you're in all sorts of different levels of trouble. Let's see what happened here, and police have arrested the alleged leader of a Chinese call centre scam gang and 10 others wanted for duping people into investing in gold by claiming a link with the Crown Property Bureau. The scammers peddled their royal gold investments from the notorious King's Roman Casino at the Golden Triangle in Laos and bilked their victims out of 500 million baht. Bilked? I've never heard that word before, so I thought I'd better check. Bilk, obtain or withhold money from someone by deceit or without justification, cheat or defraud. So seems to be the perfect word for what's happened here. Let's move on. Seized from the alleged gang leader and his accomplices were 3 luxury cars, over 5 million baht in cash, 30 items of gold ornaments, luxury watches, brand name bags, computers, mobile phones, SIM cards, bank account books, gold certificates, and other items. And earlier, the Crown Property Bureau filed a police complaint that a group of criminals had used its name to open a website under the name Royal Gold to promote gold investments. So I just had to find some information about this King's Romans Casino, which I'd not heard of specifically before. So I went to worldcasinodirectory.com, and it's got an article about the King's Romans Casino. And the King's Romans Casino is located in the Thonpung district on the banks of the Mekong River in Bokeo Province, Laos. And the King's Romans Casino is part of the Bokeo Special Economic Zone in northern Laos, where Chinese are investing a lot of money for tax-free development projects in the Special Economic Zone. And the casino has its own security force inside and outside. It gets better. So visitors from Laos, United States, Europe, China and Thailand are well behaved. And it says in 2017, the New York Times ran an article highlighting alleged trade in illegal wildlife and animal cruelty occurring at the King's Romans Casino. The zoo there is reportedly a holding station for slaughtering tigers and other endangered species. And according to the Times, restaurants at King's Romans still offered expensive plates of bear paw, pangolin and sautéed tiger meat, which can be paired with tiger wine, a grain-based concoction in which the cat's penises, bones or entire skeletons are soaked for months. That sounds like a delightful place. I mean, I just can't wait to get there. So exactly where is it? So we found it on the map. I'd circled it in red, and M for Myanmar, L for Laos, on T for Thailand. So it's right on that golden triangle. And if we move in there a bit closer, that's Takelek, where there's also quite a few illegal and, well, let's say notorious casinos. So as you can see, right on the border of Thailand. But on the other side, conveniently, there are a lot of these, well, highly suspicious casino operations, a lot of them run by Chinese money. But back to the story. Apparently, the scammers created false Facebook accounts using images of good-looking women in their profile photos. They then approached potential victims and persuaded them to invest in gold via the Royal Gold website, which was set up to look like a stock trading site, and the gang claimed its website invested in gold with links to the Crown Property Bureau in a bid to build credibility. Now, the Crown Property Bureau is basically all the infrastructure and items owned by the palace and the Thai royal family. And one of the scammers tasked with finding people to open bank accounts told police that he'd been paid 10,000 baht per account. He claimed he had huge debts from gambling at King's Romans, and the Chinese gang leader, who was among 11 suspects arrested, forced him to work for the scam gang. So a lot of dimensions to that story, and I think we're going to hear a lot more about that one. as the Thai government and officials do crack down on these illegal Chinese gangs operating in Thailand. Now, I should thank 5-Star Marine, by the way. Gee, they've been with me ever since day one. If you are heading off the island of Phuket to any of the islands and the beautiful beaches around Phang Nga Bay, I can highly recommend 5-Star Marine. There's a special deal. I think Sean's changed it. There's a discount now. It was free transfers, but Sean keeps on changing it. But that's good for you, good for me. And of course, it's good for 5-Star Marine if you support them when you're next on the island. Link in the description. And I'm glad to report that Sean is back at work. I can't see him getting up the stairs to his usual office, but he was determined to get out of hospital, so we do wish him well. I know he's got a bit of a long recovery ahead, but glad you're back at work, Sean. We go to nationthailand.com now, and spat over post of House Speaker will end before the MPs vote to pick one. And this from the leader of one of the 8 parties in the coalition. And the Seri Ruam Thai party leader yesterday expressed confidence that the Move Forward and Pheu Thai parties will reach an agreement on who the next House Speaker will be. This has been a spat that's been going on for a month now between the 2 leading parties in the coalition, who can't seem to decide amongst themselves who the House Speaker is going to be. Now, the House Speaker doesn't actually have a vote, unless it's a tied vote in the lower house, but it's seen as a very prestigious job. Now, I think that they should get just a veteran politician from one of the minority parties to do it. Then they don't have to worry about either party having that role. Anyway, and Seri Pisut said, I believe Pheu Thai and Move Forward can end the fight for the House Speaker post and reach an agreement. Once an agreement's reached, they must keep their word. He warned that if the 2 political partners of the coalition continued to fight for the post, they might provide an opportunity for the dictatorial side to return to power. So I think a salient warning there. Things are going the way of the 8-party coalition at the moment, with only, 3 weeks to go before we'll have a new Prime Minister and a new Parliament. So let's hope they can sort that out and that they don't let any of that spill into the formation of the new Parliament. Our next story today, and well, if you're going to overstay your visa, this is maybe one way you can get around it, and reported by the PattayaNews.com. Overstaying Algerian man trying to evade Thai immigration by dressing as a woman, arrested in Bangkok. And there he is, I suppose, in both garbs. One yellow t-shirt as a man, and then it looks like perhaps a fetching floral print there as a woman. An Algerian man was arrested in Bangkok for 251 days of overstaying his legal visa after he allegedly tried to dress as a woman in order to avoid Thai immigration officers. Look, I get a lot of people want to stay here in Thailand. There's a certain level of effort it takes to evade Thai immigration, and sometimes I think that effort is much more than actually getting a real visa. Anyway, and relevant officers from the Bangkok Thai immigration this week arrested a 38-year-old Algerian man at a housing estate in Buang Kam. Officers found that the Algerian man was dressed as a woman before they arrested him. And the Algerian man admitted to officers that he dressed as a woman on a regular basis to avoid being identified and arrested for overstay. He was apparently concerned about smart camera technology being utilised in tourist areas to identify overstayers, and it was not immediately clear how, despite the disguise, Thai immigration was able to identify and arrest the suspect. And Thai immigration stated that the man would be deported and sent back to Algeria. And not immediately apparent if he's going to pack all his frocks and dresses in a suitcase and take them with him. Also from PattayaNews.com, this relates to a story we did yesterday. And Pattaya City launches sweeping operation on homeless and beggars. And more than 60 officials, police officers and immigration, including the Deputy Mayor of Pattaya City, joined in an operation on, that would have been Wednesday. The operation came after multiple complaints from tourists and residents alike that beggars were causing annoyance among tourists by peddling flowers and candies. Some people were also concerned about alleged human trafficking and the exploitation of children by these beggars. A lot of people in the comment section yesterday saying that they have these problems in most countries around the world. And as we go through this story, we'll see that it's not really a huge problem in Pattaya or anywhere else in Thailand. There's a photo there of the police and the officials moving around Pattaya, and we're wondering how many beggars they found. And during the first inspection at the beachfront, Thai individuals wearing tattered clothes were found sitting on the pedestrian footpath along the beach soliciting money. In total, around 4 people were arrested for breaking laws around begging and visa and work permit related issues for migrants, as technically begging is considered working. Well, it might be considered a little bit of a technicality, but police and officials at least aware of the situation. Clearly from that story, it's not an enormous problem in Pattaya or other places as far as I can see in Thailand. And to our next story now, and this reported by Reuters, Malaysia to charge Thai nationals over mass graves and trafficking camps found in 2015. I remember this story well. It was a horrific story, finding all these people who were trying to escape mostly Myanmar and make their way down to Malaysia looking for work, and a lot of them holed up in southern Thailand in horrific conditions, and there were many mass graves found as well, as they were trying to extort money out of these people before they were able to get across the border into Malaysia. The story goes on, 4 Thai nationals will face charges in a Malaysian court today over the 2015 discovery of mass graves and suspected human trafficking camps at the country's border with Thailand. And the dense forests of southern Thailand and northern Malaysia have been a major stop-off point for smugglers bringing people to Southeast Asia by boat, most of them Rohingya Muslims fleeing persecution by Myanmar and squalid refugee camps in Bangladesh. And the discovery of camps and graves on the Thai side of the border in 2015 led authorities in Thailand to crack down on people smugglers, but prompted traffickers to abandon at sea thousands of migrants making their way to the border area in overcrowded boats. And the Reuters story goes on saying Malaysia in 2019 launched a public inquiry into whether authorities mishandled an investigation into the 139 graves and more than 12 campsites suspected to have been run by people smuggling groups. So 8 years after the original story, but good to perhaps see some completion to that horrific story that I think shocked a lot of people back in 2015. Moving on to our next story now from ThaiPBSWorld.com. US places sanctions on Myanmar's defense ministry and banks. And the United States on Wednesday imposed sanctions on Myanmar's defense ministry and 2 banks used by the ruling military junta to buy arms and other goods from foreign sources. And the US Treasury Department said in a statement the military had relied on foreign sources, including Russian entities under sanctions, to purchase and import arms, equipment and raw materials to manufacture weapons to support its brutal repression. Washington accused the Defense Ministry of importing goods and material worth at least $1 billion since the 2021 coup in which the military leaders seized power. And 2 state-owned banks were also hit with sanctions. The banks receive and transmit foreign currencies for the Burmese government, according to the US Treasury report. And the Treasury's Undersecretary said that Burma's military regime has leveraged state-owned access to international markets to import weapons and material, including from sanctioned Russian entities, to continue its violence and repression. And then further down, a spokesman for Myanmar's military junta, ahead of the announcement, said it was not worried about any new sanctions. So the Burmese military and Myanmar generally just slowly being isolated from the rest of the world. And it's a critical issue for Thailand because it shares such a long border and so many Burmese working here in Thailand, millions of them. many under the radar, and the Thais certainly take advantage of that situation. Look, thank you for joining us on our final TNT for this week. It's been really great having you with us. Appreciate your support. If you can subscribe to the channel, I'd be even more grateful. I'll be with you tomorrow, and that'll be between 9 and 10 Thai time. We might go longer. We'll see how we go. Anything you want to talk about, it's just open slather. Hopefully some intelligent discussion about things we've been talking about during the week, or other things that might be on your mind related to Thailand and the region. In the meantime, thank you for watching today, and we'll see you tomorrow, maybe for Grumpy Old Men Sunday, or of course we'll be back with our daily TNT on Monday.